Hi guys, this is Connie. This book is making me feel so many different things. But we're back for some more. Connie reads The Dogs of Winter. This is chapter 52, titled Away. I opened my eyes. I smelled something sharp and soapy. I also smelled vomit and pee like it sometimes smelled in the train stations. Was I back in the metro with Rudy and Tanya and Pasha? Had my life with the dogs been all a dream? I tried to sit up. Someone fluttered over to me. No, child, no. You must be still. All in white she was dressed, and from the side of her head lifted wings like the seagulls along the great river. All in white she was dressed, and from the side of her head lifted wings like the seagulls along the great river. I wanted to ask her if she was an angel or perhaps a sister of mercy. I ran my tongue over my cracked lips. I needed water. I opened my mouth to speak. The word I managed to croak to surprise us both. Dogs. I do not know how long they kept me in the children's ward of the hospital. They said I had lost a great deal of blood when I broke the window that night. Whoever would imagine so much blood would come from such a little boy, the nurse said as she clucked and fussed around me. My arm became infected, and my fever so high they thought I would die. As I grew stronger, they assaulted me with questions. What is your name? How old are you? Why were you living on the streets? Where is your family? I answered none of these questions. Instead, I watched and I listened. I was no longer in the orphanage. I knew that. I was in a hospital in the city, if I was still in the city when I could find the dogs. I had to find the dogs. Little Mother had new puppies. They needed me, and I would take care of them, if I could escape. I learned the comings and goings of the nurses and doctors. One night, at the time when the doctors had all gone to their homes and the nurses were sleepy, I pulled the needle hooked to the bag beside my bed from my arm and slipped out of my bed. My clothes were gone. My boots were gone. My baby tooth was gone. I did not care. I wrapped a blanket around my body and slid open the glass door of my room. I crouched in the doorway and listened. No sound. I scurried down the hallway and past the big desk where a nurse slept. I flew down the corridor, my bare feet slapping on the cold floor and the blanket flapping around me. There, at the end of the corridor, were two tall doors with bars across them. I hurled myself against the doors. The doors did not open. Instead, a siren screamed and lights flashed. I covered my ears with my hands against the screeching and squinted against the flashing lights. Hands grabbed. I kicked and bit. Too many hands. Something stung my arm. Everything fell away. After that, I was tied to the bed. It did not matter if I had to relieve myself. I was kept tied. They fed me with a spoon like a little baby. At first, I refused to eat. I spat the food back in their faces. But then I realized as long as I was in the city, there was hope of getting away. It would not be an easy escape, I told myself. I would have to be as smart as Smoke and as strong as Lucky and as swift as Star. For that, I needed to eat, and so I did. I even pretended to be a good boy. Soon, they untied me. I did not bite, not even once, even though I wanted to. One day, as the snow fell outside, a tall man in shiny black boots and militia clothes came into my room. I dropped to the floor and scurried under my bed. My stomach felt sick. Hello, Mowgli, he said. The voice. I knew that voice. I plucked at my eyebrows. I brought someone to see you, he said. Someone I think you'll be happy to see. The door whispered open. Soft furred boots, the color of Lucky's brown and black coat, walked into the room. A flowered skirt brushed the top of the boots. Hello, child, the woman in the hat said. I growled and pushed against the wall. Oh, child. She stooped down. Her eyes searched for me under the bed. Please come out, she said, holding out her hand. You know I won't hurt you. I growled a little lower and flashed my teeth. She gasped. The shiny black boots moved next to her. Go away, I ordered. Now, boy, her son said. We're only trying to help you. I felt anger burning up through my legs and stomach. My hand itched for my bone club or my knife. Yes, dear, the woman in the hat said, rubbing her hands. They're going to take you to a better place, a safer place then. The burning anger flew up in my throat and burst from my mouth. You! I screamed. It's all your fault! I shot from under the bed and stood before her, my fist clenched. The woman in the hat's eyes widened. Her mouth opened and closed around the words she could not say. I stepped toward her. My place is with the dogs, I said in a low growl. I never saw the woman in the hat or her son again. 2 days later, the doctor entered my room. He listened to my heart and my lungs. He unwrapped the bandages on my arm and studied the long lines of gashes. He looked at me for a long moment. His eyes were full of questions. He reached out a hand as if to touch me, then stopped. He put the hand in his white coat pocket. He sighed and nodded to the nurse and left the room. Well, the nurse with the winged hat said, bustling around me. This is fine then. You'll be off tomorrow. Off? But where? I wanted to ask her. It did not matter. Tomorrow they would take me out of here and I could escape. My body tingled all over. I grinned inside myself. I wiggled my toes. Get ready, I told my feet and my legs. But there was nothing to get ready for. They dressed me in a coat that was not like any coat I had ever seen. It pinned my arms and crisscrossed this way and that so I could not move. They bound my legs and wheeled me in a chair to a van like the ones I had seen children taken away in before. They strapped me in a seat in a van beside a window. Goodbye, child, the nurse with the winged hat said. Tears ran down her cheeks. My heart pounded. Sick rose up from my mouth and burned my throat. I swallowed it down. The van pulled into the traffic of the city. I leaned my head against the window and I watched the city. The beggars and the children and the dogs and the crow boys and the police and the garbage bins and the grand metro stations and the great golden domes pass by. And finally, away and away from everything I had ever known. And that's the end of chapter 52. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. And I will see you for the next chapter, which I'm going to record right now because I have no idea what's about to happen. I hope this book gets better. It's got to get better, right? Right.